Okay, time now for our Wednesday segment on the docket with my buddy John Patrick Dolan.
Indeed.
JPD, the big one, of course, right now in the courtroom, and 10 o'clock back east, is probably the Boston bombing trial. Zarkov Tsarnaev, the one brother who was left alive after that siege, as we saw Boston, came under fire when the cops took him and his brother down. Took him, what, 2-3 months to sit a jury in this one?
5 times the defense asked that the venue be changed. 3 times in front of the district court judge, twice now in front of the appellate court, and each time they've been turned down. This time, however, it was a 2-to-1 vote by the appellate court. One of the dissenting justices said it's very hard to understand how you can get a jury that's fair and impartial based on all the people that have had some contact with this case. The reasoning is just because people know about the case doesn't mean they're prejudiced against the case. That's the majority opinion. Frankly, this is going to be the big issue, because after this case gets going, if there is a conviction, the issue would be, is there any way to get a fair trial based on the publicity?
Where are you going to try this guy? You have to go to some North Dakota remote town where they may have never heard his name?
Well, at least
everyone knows about him.
If you went to another district court, you wouldn't have people that are related to the people that were harmed in the bombing, most likely. Right. So if you went to Texas or you went to Kansas or somewhere in a federal district court, you could avoid that. The question is that enough to make it an unfair veneer, they call it, the group of people that are the jurors? And I think in this case, it's going to be a big issue if he gets convicted, and there's pretty little doubt that he's going to get convicted. I was going to say, we've got the video right there, and after what the nation went through watching this unfold for days, how would they find any other verdict but guilty on this guy? Next one, same-sex marriage. I know last time you were on 2 weeks ago, we talked about a ruling that allowed several more states to make sure that it was unconstitutional, lifting any type of ban these states wanted to do. Now there's word from Nebraska. What's going on there? Well, Nebraska, a federal district court judge ruled Nebraska's same-sex marriage ban unconstitutional. Interestingly, however, there is a stay still. In the Alabama case we talked about 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Court said we're not issuing a stay. People of the same sex can get married, and we'll deal with this when we deal with the case. Frankly, I think when the Supreme Court rules on the issue, this is going to eliminate the issue in Nebraska. More and more states are being found, the laws that states pass against same-sex marriage are being found unconstitutional. And frankly, I think by June we're going to get a ruling that it is unconstitutional, denial of equal protection.
From the High Court. And
from the High Court.
No other state can ever do this. All right, and real quick, almost out of time, you want to touch on Jessica laws here in our state? What's going on with them?
Part of Jessica's law is that sex offenders can't come within 2,000 feet of any place where children congregate.
Right.
Our California Supreme Court just found that part of the law unconstitutional. And so there's a big question about what's going to happen in keeping an eye on the people who have been required to become registered sex offenders.
Right, they had to stay away from parks and schools. They couldn't live or come near them 2,000 feet because they're a registered sex offender. But Jessica's law has been in effect for a long time.
It has, and it finally made it to the Supreme Court of California. And in a unanimous decision, the Supreme Court said that's unconstitutional. That's part of the law. And so there's going to have to be some reorganization as far as that part of the law.
Well, you're going to have some parents and some people who were possibly, affected by a sex offender, pretty upset about that one.
Basis
Keep on track
really
for that,
unintended consequences of it.
Okay. John Patrick Dolan, thanks for coming in, as always, on Wednesdays. If you want more information, need some legal help, there's his info. It's Dolan Law Offices.